This is an illustration of how an advanced recovery scheme works. Currently, waste management in the Pacific follows a linear pattern. Items are imported or manufactured. A shop sells them. We purchase and consume them. We have little choice but to dispose them in a landfill or a dump. Some items are also littered or burnt, and a small amount of recycling occurs, generally with scrap metal. For a model like this, we're all paying for waste management. Landfills cost the government money to construct and manage, and we are potentially paying with our health and the health of our environment. With our rapidly overflowing landfills and knowledge of environmental effects and climate change, there is a movement from a linear to a circular way of managing waste. In the circular pattern, items are imported or manufactured. A shop sells them. We purchase and consume them. Then a system is set up for us to return the item. Eventually, the container makes its return to a factory for recycling. And what is the purpose of a sustainable financing or advanced recovery scheme? It is for exactly the same thing: to create enabling environments to provide circular flow and management of waste. It provides incentives for consumers to recycle and a self-financing mechanism to enable recycling activities. So how does the scheme work? There are three key elements. Firstly, by placing a value or a small deposit on the items. When a shop purchases an item from an importer or manufacturer, in this example, we are using a bottle of water in a PET bottle. But this can be any type of item you wish to manage, from an aluminium can to an end-of-life computer or vehicle. When a shop purchases the item from an importer or manufacturer, they pay a small deposit. When we purchase the item, we also pay a small deposit. After we consume the item, we have a choice: to landfill or burn or litter, or to recycle. If we have a financial incentive to recycle, or to be rewarded by getting our deposit back, then we will more likely choose to recycle. The recycler can return the items to the importer or manufacturer, who would pay them the deposit, and the loop is closed. But is it a different factory who will recycle the items? Is it a different shipping company going to a different country? And that shipping company will likely not take the item for free. How can the recyclers get a regular funding to enable the long-term collection and export of these items? Currently, this illustration just shows a deposit circulating around. It is not sufficient to fund recycling or export activities. We need to add another element. The second element to the scheme is a handling fee. In addition to the deposit amount, the recycler receives from the importer or manufacturer a handling fee that can cover the cost of recycling the item. The consumer receives their deposit back, and there is no change to that. The recycler can use the handling fee to fund the collection and export of the item. This is the general purpose of the schemes. The consumers have an incentive to recycle, and recyclers have a self-financing mechanism to enable recycling activities. But what if there are many importers, manufacturers, and recyclers? Who ensures the flow of funds to ensure the authorized companies receive the correct amount? Who manages to ensure the system and the scheme runs fairly and achieves the desired purposes? What happens to the unredeemed deposits? That is, the deposit paid by the retailer and consumer but not claimed back. In this illustration, they would be held by the importer. We need to add a final element. The third and final element to the scheme is a special fund that is managed by a central agency. Instead of the deposit and handling fee being paid by the importer directly to the recycler, it gets paid into a secured central recycle fund. The fund is kept safe and allocated to the recycler once the consumer has been refunded their deposit and after the items have been collected and exported. This special fund is where unredeemed deposits will go, so they can be used for approved activities used to benefit the system or waste management. This is the general illustration of how an advanced recovery scheme works. When designing a scheme for your context, these are the elements that you need to carefully consider. SPREP through JPrism 2 and PackWaste Plus can assist. But for now, to summarize the purpose of an advanced recovery scheme and how they enable a circular management of recyclable items, firstly, the scheme provides an incentive to your community to, instead of landfilling, burning, or throwing away a recyclable item, they have an incentive to drop off at a recycle depot and then to get an immediate financial reward. Secondly, for recyclers, instead of bottles or items stockpiling with limited ability to recycle or export, it gives them a self-sustaining financial ability to collect, process, and export those items, or a funding source to provide for recycling in country. If you see benefits in an advanced recovery scheme to assist your country's ability to collect and manage recyclable items, please contact your team at SPREP for more information. Thank you.